Good afternoon, everyone, on the JDF World Connection. Some of you will know me. I'm Winston Sutherland. I served in the JDF for almost 20 years, and I have been asked to take forward this series of interviews. When Desi Hanlon, Mr. JDF, Mr. President, approached me shortly before Christmas holidays, he asked me if I would, he asked me to get involved, and I said I would get involved. And we talked about it for a while, and then we agreed that, or he said it would be a good idea if I take over this interview series. So I said I would do it, although I know I have to make it's a lot of work, but I decided to do it. So I'm going to give it my best shot. So these interviews have been running for over 5 years now. So there's quite a bit of archived information about different people and their stories. We are now going to be doing this on a different platform. So the interviews are going to be either live on YouTube or pre-recorded and aired on YouTube. The name A Soldier's Story is significant because it means that we're going to be hearing the stories of just about everybody that we can get to agree to tell their story. The selection process for people who do the interviews will be done by Mr. President and Mr. Panta Morgan and the other members of the committee. They will tell me who the person is. I will then get in touch with the person, arrange to do the interview, and then we will share that on the YouTube platform. What will also happen is that after the interview is aired, then members of the community will be, or of the connection, will be able to ask questions of the person who has been interviewed. Good thing is that you get the entire interview and you can listen to it as you see fit and then ask the questions based on what you have heard. The first interview is going to be Lieutenant Colonel Euken Mills. Some of you will know, most of you will know him. He served in the JDF for 34 years from 1978 to 2012 and retired in the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. So I'll be speaking with him, and then you will get a chance to ask him questions once he has finished. The other point I need to talk about is that each of us has a story. Some of our stories are long stories, some of them are short stories, some are funny stories, some are sad stories, some are all sorts of different stories, but we all have stories. And so this is an opportunity for us to tell our story and so that people can hear our story. I told my story some times ago on this connection, but I've also put my story into a book. As you can see, it's called My Journey Through the Jamaica Defense Force. If anybody wants to have a read, My Journey Through the Jamaica Defense Force, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So that's me telling everybody about my story of my time in the JDF. And just like I have written my story, everybody has stories about their time in the JDF. And so we'll use this way to hear people's stories. So we would like to hear your story. And hopefully when you're approached by Mr. JDF and you're asked to tell your story, you will be willing to do so. I do not get to select who the people are to be interviewed. Certainly we are starting off with an officer or an ex-officer, but he was also an ex-soldier. So he comes from both sides of the fence, so to speak. So hopefully we'll hear from female soldiers, male soldiers, old soldiers who have long service. Well, when I say long service, I mean over 22 years service, and soldiers who have less than 22 years service, and hear their stories. So I think this is a good thing because it gets us to hear, it helps us to continue to hear some of the things which many of us don't know about that have taken place in the JDF before our time or since our time that have happened. So I think it's a good thing. I hope you will enjoy the series. I think we have agreed to do 2 per month to see how it goes. And then if my capacity allows, we'll see if we can actually do more. but there's quite a bit that goes on in the background to make these interviews happen. So I have decided not to try to take on too much. So we'll have this one this first week, the 14th of January, and probably another one before the end of the month. But that's up to Mr. JDF and the rest of the team to schedule. Certainly, once we have aired each interview, I hope I'll get feedback from you to say what you like and what you don't like, so that we can improve the quality of the interviews as we go along. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop this now. This is just to tell you what to expect, and this will be put out probably on Saturday, the 13th of January. And then you will get to see the interview on Sunday, the 13th. So the interview is scheduled for 1 p.m. on Sunday, the 13th of January. It will run probably an hour and a half. And then once it's finished, you will get to see, or you'll be able to ask your questions. Okay, so this is what they call a trailer. This is to tell you what is coming.